Hi, I'm Ash and welcome to this first Parawing breakdown video where we are looking at getting onto foil. Now the process for getting onto foil for the first time starts on the beach. You can launch your Parawing on the beach and then pick up your board and walk it down the beach whilst flying your Parawing, but honestly this is really the hard way to do it. First, let's just assume that you'll be following the good practice of packing away your Parawing at the end of a session with no tangles. This means when you take it out of the bag at the beach, it's tangle free and ready to launch. Make sure the Parawing is tightly bundled and there are no lines hanging out at all. You just want a bundle of sailcloth and a bar with the lines disappearing inside of the bundled sailcloth. You can now carry your board to the beach without the worry of trying to fly the Parawing and carry your board, minimising the risk of doing damage to your gear on the beach by making its journey to the water as safe as possible. You can see here my wing is nicely bundled. I don't even try to unfurl it until I'm at a suitable foil depth to get onto the board. The next step is unfurling the wing for the first time. Be very careful and take your time. I spot my wing is upside down and rotate it before launching. What we get is a nice perfect launch. You can also lay on your Parawing to paddle out if it is really nicely bundled. If you carry it to the water with lines hanging out, they will catch and tangle on things and make your start more trouble than it should be. Once my wing is launched, I sit on the board and use the wing to just pull me out beyond the shingle spits at our beach. Then once I'm clear, I can transition to mounting the board on my knees. I side mount, but the general rules of board mounting are the same whether you have your knees across the board or pointing forwards. The key here is the Parawing is held fairly close to the front of the handle in the rear hand. We hold near the front so that we can totally depower the wing if necessary, but also add power for counterbalancing. The free front hand is used for stabilisation, so we are effectively kneeling but also have a hand on the board for extra stability. This extra hand on the board also gives us a little assistance in pushing up to get the first foot up onto the board or into the foot strap if you use them. Once you have the first foot up, then we want to transfer the front hand to the bar, as this again makes for a more stable situation and allows us to control the Parawing's power with a little more finesse. Once we power the Parawing up and the board starts to move, we have some stability from the foil activating and stopping the board from rolling. We now want to power the wing up by moving it back into the power zone a little, which is less front hand pressure, and this will give us some counterbalance to make the final step to our feet. Once we are on our feet, we are waiting for a gust and looking to turn the board onto the correct angle for maximum power and speed. This angle is between crosswind and downwind. When you're on the board, this angle is with the Parawing just to one side of the board off the front. It feels a lot like you're going quite a long way downwind, but in reality you aren't, because the Parawing is sitting forwards of directly downwind and is trying to fly towards the edge of the power window. In this position you will feel the Parawing pull harder and you can start to pump your legs and pull a little bit on the wing. Unlike a hand wing, pumping a Parawing doesn't have a huge effect, but it does help you to time your leg pumps and gives you something to counterbalance against whilst you pump your legs. To get maximum power from a pocket rocket, you want your backhand's little finger tight up against the blue middle bridles. Your front hand should be tight alongside your backhand. This provides the most stable position for pumping the wing. If you hold too far forward, the wing will shoot forwards when you pump it, and if you hold too far back, it will go backwards and stall. What you want is a position where when you pull on the wing, it stays still and doesn't surge forwards or backwards, and that is the hand positioning I just gave. Keep pumping and gather speed and you will start to lift. As soon as you come up on foil, you'll want to turn more upwind to get more power in the wing, just like you do for hand wings. Also, you want to move your front hand right to the front of the bar so you've got some ability to depower. Depowering the wing is just pulling as far forward on the bar as possible so that it flies only off of its front lines, and in this position it's a bit like flagging out a hand wing. I strongly recommend using a harness to take the strain off your arms, although you may want to leave this off for the first session while you get used to things. Okay, that's our first run through. Let's look at some more examples of getting onto foil. Okay, in this example we're going the other direction. You will notice that I shift my hand holding the wing forwards on the bar to allow me to depower as I start the board mounting procedure. Once again, I'm using my hand on the front of the board to stabilise myself whilst balancing power in the Parawing with my rear hand. It is mostly depowered but not fully depowered. As I'm in the shallows here and out of the swell, the board is quite stable, so I go straight to the bar with my front hand before bringing up my foot to the foot strap. I'm just waiting for a little gust here to help pull myself to my feet as the wind is more sheltered close to the beach. I'm now onto my feet and positioning my hands so that the Parawing will be stable for pumping, and angling the board to get that nice cross downwind angle where I can generate the most power. You can see that as soon as I hit that angle, the wing powers up and we gather speed, and with a few pumps of the wing and a few little leg pumps, we're up and onto foil. I now shift my hands forward so I can depower the wing, and should I need to, or when I'm ready, hook into the harness. And for this last one, we get a really good view of the stabilisation with the front hand. You can see me using that hand, shifting my weight around and using it as a balance whilst I position myself, as I'm a little bit too far forward on the board at the moment. And then once I've got my knees in the right place, I can transfer my hands to the bar. So I'm now going to use the wing as a counterbalance to allow me to get that front foot up. So I'm waiting for a gust that just gives me enough to lift my front foot into the strap. And there it is. So now I've got my front foot up, but I'm still on my back knee. And now I'm just waiting for the next gust and a little bit of board speed to give me stability so I can actually get up onto my feet fully. It's taking a little bit of time for that gust to come through, and there it is, and now I'm on my feet. So now we're positioning the hands so that we can pump, which I've just done, and now we're going to start to angle the board away and into the power zone so that we get that wing lined up at that angle, that slightly downward angle. There it is. And we're now starting to get some speed, and I can pump my legs a little bit, pump on the wing a little bit. Notice the wing isn't surging forwards or backwards but staying put, and that's because my hands are in the right place, and that gathers some speed. And as I gather speed, the wing starts to generate more power and just pulls me up onto foil. And now I can turn upwind a little bit, and should I need to, hook into the harness to take some of the strain off my arms. Okay, that's everything for this video. In our next video in this series, we'll be looking at the basic heel to toe and toe to heel jibe with the Parawing. So I'll see you on that next video.